Hello, good morning. Happy new moon in Virgo to all of you. It's an intense moon. I've heard already from a few people this morning that it's affecting them internally. I would say that it is affecting me internally as well, although, for me with new moons, it's usually a day or two after. So the new moon was at 2:05 a.m. this morning on the East Coast. So you just have to adjust for wherever it is for you, wherever you are in the world. And I am going to go ahead and pull up the chart. Here we go. My computer's a little slow this morning, sorry. There we go. So here are the moon is at 0 degrees, 22 minutes. The 0 degree mark, it's a brand new, it's a very brand new cycle. We're just coming into it. And this is why I say that we may not feel, there'll be internal energy, but we won't really see what it is until just a few days after this moon. But I like to talk about this Virgo energy. I've been sort of focusing on it for the last couple of years because I have my Pluto and North Node in Virgo. And yeah, it's an intense it's an intense sign. So both Virgo and Pisces up here at the top of the chart, is where the North Node is. The South Node is in Virgo. And these are transitional signs. These are where we move from self, which would be like in the natural chart, if you started Aries and go to Libra, what you have is the first five signs ending at Leo. Leo is all about the self. It's been described to me as like being at the top of the pyramid. You're the most important thing in the world. Everything is about you in Leo. But then when you get to the next sign, Virgo, you really have to humble yourself and pull yourself down a little bit and this energy so that we can get into relationships, because relationships aren't all about us. And so there's this energy of a shift that happens with Virgo. But the same energy shift happens in Pisces, in that we are ending a cycle and beginning a new one. So in Virgo, or the sixth house, we're humbling ourselves so that we can begin relationships, so that we can be in relationships, which is an important growth process to learn. It's like as children, we have to learn how to share, and that's the relationship. In Pisces, like I said, we're trying to end a cycle to begin a new one. So both of these are transitional. So with the sun and moon at 0 degrees, we are beginning a cycle of transition. We are shifting from the energy of self and moving into relationships. And it's interesting because Mars is in Leo. Uh, Mercury is in Leo, the sign of self, and Mars has moved into Leo. So you can kind of see that energy that I'm talking about. Um, all right, so I want to talk a little bit more about Virgo before I get into what's going on in this chart. So if Pisces is the whole, then completeness of anything, then Virgo, its opposite, would be all the parts of the whole. And the way that I have noticed that, because I have so much Virgo in my chart, is that it this being a part of a whole. When you see yourself, self node, through these eyes, what happens is there's a feeling of like isolation. I'm different. I'm not good enough. That is really the energy that we have, humanity has been living in for really some time. Many people feel like they don't measure up. We have so many different hierarchies, which I feel like develop out of this Virgo archetype, because once you sort things out, you know, oh, this color is better than this one. If you're like lining up the colors on the rainbow, and people pick their favorite colors, or um, you know, I don't know. There's many different ways that you could look at it, and different examples you can use, but separating things out will create this hierarchy. And I've noticed this, for example, with people. We have where there are these inequalities, differences um, in people, and then some things are better than others. Like most people believe that it's better to be rich than poor, that kind of energy. And when we have these energies, we aren't smart enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not good enough, we're this is, it creates this really negative tension on the soul. And it also creates the other energies of Virgo, which is the work that we have to do to improve ourselves. And so, yeah, this is the energies that I'm talking about with Virgo. And there are others. There's the savior, and the need to sacrifice, and also to give service as the reflection of what the perfection looks like. And so I feel like this new moon, because of the way all of these planets are sitting, is about looking at our reality through a different light. And we're starting this energy today. Mercury rules Virgo. Mercury also rules Gemini. Gemini is the energy of gathering information, and we gather information about our reality. We see what we see, and we bring it into ourselves. And in the sign of Virgo, we discern what it means, what we're bringing in. Is what we're bringing in real? Is it a danger to ourselves? Are we safe? Are we not safe? Do we have to act? Do we have to do some work to improve our situation? This is the way that Mercury works through Virgo and through Gemini. And so Mercury is in Leo. In Leo, it's about the self. It's about our inner child and our heart, and our, yeah, how we feel, and how we want to bring how we feel into the outer world. And so our mindsets, our information gathering energy is on our hearts right now, and how we're feeling, and how we want to self-actualize. And Mercury it got to 14 degrees, it went retrograde back to 4, and now it's coming back around where it was when it became retrograde. And so we're getting very close to this energy that we were at before, where we have gone back, we've gained some more information, some internal information about what we want and what we desire. Leo is the place of desire, because it's ruled by, it's the heart. And so as a fire sign, fire's all desire. So Mercury is coming along, and it is bringing in information from the heart. And in Virgo, we are discerning what that means. And we are discerning it in a very new way. I feel like this energy of hierarchy is dissolving. One, because the South Node is in Virgo, and that is the energy that we've been at, and where we're headed is to understand that we're all part of a whole, Pisces, and that in that energy, we can have compassion for ourselves, compassion for others, um, and acceptance of what is. And yeah, it's about universal love and yeah, the energy of that keeps us whole. So I say this that this new moon is about a shift in the way that we perceive the reality of hierarchy. Now, to further include another planet that goes along with this energy, I want to bring our attention to Uranus. Uranus is at 1 degree Gemini. Uranus has been in Gemini for a little bit of time. It will be here for the next 7 and something years. And what Uranus does is break apart. It fractures energies, very stuck energies that no longer serve our evolution. It no longer serves. So it can also oftentimes be a very shocking energy. It happens very quickly, and it causes change, rapid change. Uranus is rules the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is about revolution. Revolution is this rapid change. Generally, in a revolution, people are uncomfortable about what's happening in the Capricorn, the status quo, and they really want to create change. And so oftentimes it's violent, doesn't have to be violent necessarily, but it surely can be. But there's a fracturing so that something new can come out of it. And in the sign of Gemini, it's about the way we gather information, right? As I was saying about Mercury in Gemini, it's about gathering information. And so if you look at this energy of fracturing the way we think, the way we communicate with each other, then we're also going to be interpreting that information differently. And so that is where I sort of feel that's what these energies are talking about, that we are in the process of fracturing a way we're in the energy, Pluto is in Aquarius, Uranus is in Gemini, and this new moon is in Virgo. We are coming in along this journey to really fracture and break apart this energy where we don't feel good enough. Because we're all individuating, we're all shedding the layers of how we have been conditioned through our childhood, through our jobs, through our past experience. We're shedding so that we can become anew and really be the vehicles of change in this reality. So let's see what else. I want to talk about Venus because Venus is in Cancer and Jupiter is in Cancer, and they were conjunct not that long ago. And in that conjunction, what was happening was this very, well, let me just tell you what Jupiter in Cancer does. It's like this expansion. Jupiter expands. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. It makes it bigger. It goes beyond where it was before. And Jupiter is also linked to, because this expansion creates freedom. You create more space, there's a little more freedom, wiggle room happening. And so Jupiter also is about travel. It's about what our beliefs are and what our truths are. It's the ruler of Sagittarius. Sagittarius has all these energies I'm talking about, freedom being at its core. Um, and in the sign of Cancer, we're doing this expansion and this freedom energy within inside ourselves. Cancer is about how we nurture ourselves and how we feel safe. Is ruled by the moon. The moon is the mother. The mother nurtures and makes the infant feel safe. So we're expanding this energy of safety and of security, internal security in ourselves. And when Venus comes rolling through, it picks up that energy of expansion. And so the new phase conjunction, it's just past the conjunction, but still new phase energy, where we are beginning a new cycle of relating. Venus is the planet of relating. And in the sign of Taurus, it's about relating to ourselves. In this Cancer, it is also about relating to ourselves, because Cancer is the moon. It's our egos, the way that we see ourselves. And however, with Venus, how we see ourselves is really how we will see others. And so there's this energy that's present that we are really starting to have value in who we are, and through our emotional well-being. We are working on increasing that emotional well-being. Perhaps many of us are, exercising more or eating a better diet or doing some sort of health self-care. But Venus is really about attuning to our own internal emotional field. And this is important because in Virgo, and when we have been seeing ourselves as less than, perhaps we project that out onto other people. We certainly take that in for ourselves, but it's the energy of taking in this self-care and using that as a beginning for seeing ourselves differently, seeing ourselves as equals, really, in this world, because that's the truth, in my opinion. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, we should talk about this Neptune and Saturn conjunction that's been in place for some time, and will continue to be in this place. Both planets are retrograde now, and Saturn is the energy of crystallizing. It makes things real. When Saturn is retrograde, it goes from the external crystallizing the reality to the internal. We really get the opportunity to create our own reality. And in the sign of Aries, Aries is about the self. It's about self-discovery. Who are we? Who, what are we? Who are we? And we're in this process of getting to crystallize who it is that we are discovering ourselves to be. Neptune, on the other hand, is like the completion. I like to talk about Neptune as like the source of all things. It's the waters, the oceans. And it being retrograde really is dissolving all the past meaning that has come before. And in that dissolving of reality, what we have is this sort of heart mindset of dreams. It's very dreamy in Neptune and Pisces. And I feel like this energy together is giving us the opportunity not only to dissolve what's happened in the past and to dissolve our attachment to it, really, and to really solidify this energy that we are bringing from within ourselves, that we feel and we are trying to create within ourselves. So this is all very important. I think that there's an inconjunct between this energy and this new moon. And the type of energy that it is it's the Virgo kind of energy where we have to really adjust ourselves. And in Virgo that has that energy of adjustment because we do the work to improve. That's an adjustment energy. In an inconjunct, the adjustment is more like because there's something uncomfortable happening. Like we have to make a change because there's something uncomfortable. We're not feeling very good. In this case, I feel like the uncomfortability is because all of a sudden we're not seeing ourselves, or we're beginning to not see ourselves as less than or better than, but that is an uncomfortability because it's not what we're used to. And we're not comfortable with it. And so this causes an energy of crisis, an internal crisis that we have to make adjustments. Let's go over to talk about Pluto because I want to talk about this bright blue V in here. This is called a yod, or a finger of God, and it brings change at the apex. It's a change bringer. And then, you know, both Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto are in change energies. You know, Pluto is the energy of evolution. It's the energy of empowerment. It's the energy of transmutation, death, and rebirth. And in the sign of Aquarius, it is about changing and becoming our individualized selves. And I say that because the opposing energy of Pluto is Leo. It's at 1 degree. We are really coming into who we are in our own hearts. To me, there's no mistake that Mercury's there. So we're bringing that into our brains. The heart and the head are coming together here. And in that energy, we have this new moon. So the focus of change here is in this very changeable sign, and really at the 0 degrees. So I think that we're all processing things that are different. You know, things are different. Things are very different, but we don't quite see what that difference is yet. And mostly that's because this new moon is at 0 degrees. One more thing I do want to talk about, maybe two. Let's go ahead and go to Chiron. So Chiron is retrograde. So any planet that's retrograde is really accelerating the energy so that we can individuate and change. We are in a constant state of growth and becoming. And all of these planets are helping us do that. All the retrograde planets are really working right now to help us, you know, in this universal energy to change. So Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron, whatever sign that it's in, really wants to bring to the surface the wounds of that energy. And here we're looking at Aries. And Aries is like the true self, the very spontaneous, I'm going to act from within. It's about self-discovery. We have a wound there, and the wound isn't necessarily in the individual, although we all carry the wound. It's in the collective. It's in our genetic field. We all have been fearful of showing up as who we are. And you have to think about it kind of like this. Like long ago when we, you know, humans lived in very small bands, you really had to fit into the group. You fit into the group, and if you did something that was outside of the group, then you were banished out to yourself, and that was sure death. So that's one of the energies. that energy is really pervaded and evolved where we have to behave sort of in the same way, or we get ostracized by our groups, and um, we become fearful of showing who we are. And so we tend to hide that energy of who we are. And Chiron is bringing that energy to the surface so that we can see it. Chiron wants us to accelerate beyond it. Chiron is asking us to heal the wound that prevents us from showing up as ourselves. And this is happening universally. So I think that we're being exposed to things and energies, situations that show us these energies and really give us the opportunity to shift that energy. And if you notice that here, I'm going to click on this Chiron. If you notice, it's a trine to this new moon energy, which is making it easy. The flow is there for us to experience the wound and then to make internal adjustments. So yeah, that's weaving it all in. So now I want to talk about one more alignment, and I'm going to click on Neptune. I can't really show you the whole alignment. I'm going to draw it out for you, I think. But first, I want to show you that Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus are all in this triangle together, all at 1 degree. And this is significant because these sextiles are energy that supports this central piece up here. So breaking out of the thought patterns, how we have perceived the reality is important. Also breaking out of any kind of cultural constraints, societal constraints is key. And the apex here is this ability to create our own reality. Now I'm going to put this back on because what you see here is this grand trine, which includes Mars, Pluto, and Uranus. And it's all in air signs, so it's a whole consciousness shift. But Mars is how we act. Mars is this taking the consciousness and putting it into action. Mars is also how Pluto acts into the world. And so it's an interesting thing that Mars is asking us to relate. It's asking us to relate. And to relate in our relationships into the outer world in a more balanced way, not seeing the extremes. And that links also to this new moon, which I'm saying is coming together in a place where we're not a hierarchy. And the Mars is saying, yeah, we're trying to find balance. So this configuration, let me just draw it in with a pen here. Hold on. Yeah, this configuration, it starts here. I'm just going to draw, oh, my lines are terrible, and comes all the way down here. Bloom, bloom. Sorry, my drawing's bad. This is a kite. And a kite brings us, and I'm going to take it off because it looks just terrible. A kite brings us this energy. You can see it. It's in the light green color, the 2 sextiles and the trines. And the apex is where we are really having supportive energy and giving us this extra ability to really create the reality that we want to see. And the opposing energy, this integration energy, this is what we have to integrate to be able to create it, is to act in a way that is balanced. And I think that because what I've always understood about Libra is that it's not balanced, it's learning how to be balanced. And so with Mars is linked to Aries. It's about this new energy, and we are learn find a balance. When I think of balance and the way that oppositions work, for example, I see a swinging back and forth between the poles. And when that happens, we experience the extremes of both sides. But if you've ever seen a pendulum move, it slowly comes to find the balance in the center. And I think that that is the energy that we're working with right now. So yeah, now these planets are going to be affecting each of us differently depending on our birth charts and which house they're landing in our charts. And if anybody is ever interested in me looking at how these energies are landing for you, please do reach out to me on my website, and I will link my website in the comments below. And also, I do write a moon report twice a month, the new moon and the full moon, and publish it on Substack. Please feel free to subscribe to my Substack if you haven't already, or to share this video. And I will also link the Substack down below. The Substack is long reading. It gives several paragraphs of how I see all this energy coming together. And then I go sign by sign, aspect by aspect, so that the reader can see where and how I've come to my understanding of what these planets are telling us. So I thank you all for listening, and happy new moon in Virgo to you all. Let me undo this. You all take care, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Eclipse season. Bye now.